This episode of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast is brought to you by our patrons on Patreon. Head over to patreon.com/Battlefront podcast to help support this show. We're also brought to you by our PayPal supporters, paypal.me/tie-dye-sheep, TYEDYESHEEP.
Pick your class and
earn your battle points.
Because it's time for the Star Wars Battlefront podcast. Welcome to episode 135 of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast. I'm your host, Sage Goodwin, joined by my brother and co-host, Sam Goodwin.
Hello there.
In this episode, we'll be going over the May the 4th details and much more.
Let's get started.
To celebrate May the 4th be with you, Star Wars Battlefront and I think all of the EA Star Wars games had some pluses for their gameplay. SWTOR did, as well as Galaxy of Heroes and Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2 had a double XP. I believe it's still going on, double XP for all of your classes, so you can level those up faster. And they had two new challenges. And the biggest thing, Ewok Hunt's back until Monday again.
Yay.
Ewok Hunt just can't go away. Why don't they just bring it back permanently?
They're just playing with our emotions right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, look, it's gone. You're never going to be able to play it again. Oh, wait, here it is again.
I don't know what is happening with that. But it's nice to see that they're doing a double XP weekend now.
Mm-hmm.
Like Battlefront 2015 had so many, and it was like such a big deal.
I think
so fun.
Last weekend they had a double XP for original Star Wars Battlefront 2015.
Nice.
So for the challenges, it is tied to Ewok hunts. You have to shine 10 Ewoks with your flashlight as a stormtrooper, and if you do that, you get 1,000 credits. You will also you should get the Princess Leia indoor skin, though it is messed up. Last time I checked, they are working on a fix right now. All of the challenges have been really buggy, not giving you your rewards correctly, but they are working on that, and it should be fixed soon. So that's another thing that has been added, and I think this is the first time that they've done double XP since their new progression and since the game's launched. And because of that, it has some issues. Throughout the lifespan of Battlefront 2, they've had a lot of challenge issues.
Sounds like the opening for a depressing documentary. Basically, since the beginning of Battlefront 2, it's basically just been them fixing mistakes that they've made. So,
yeah, it seems like that.
But we have a double XP weekend, which is looking good for the future of double XP weekends. Hopefully they do it more. Because that was such a big deal in Battlefront 2015. Like, everyone would hop on there and like abuse that. Oh yeah. And I hope it becomes like that in this game.
The only issue I find with it is that it's not tied to Ewok Hunt, so because that's like what I've been playing 24/7.
Can't get double XP on Ewok Hunt?
No, because you're not playing a class.
Oh yeah, right.
It's its own special thing, which is what class is what class would you say the Ewok hunting?
Probably be a minimalist assault class.
That's what I was thinking too. Ben Walk has been very active on Twitter recently. So he's responded all day yesterday on fixes. So it was Ben Walk where we got the news where they're fixing things for the progression system. They're fixing things for the challenge problems. They are fixing the level 50 failing to trip achievement. So they're working on that. The big thing is Season 2. They announced that it is a solo season.
As I foretold.
That you were
I just
very adamant
accepted
against.
I just accepted my inevitable fate. I knew they were going to release a solo season.
They couldn't not release a solo season with Solo coming out. Like, it doesn't make sense at all from a business perspective, bringing in people who are going to watch the movie and would be interested in a tie-in to Battlefront 2.
But the way that the last season was tied to a movie and this one's tied to a movie is just evident how slow they are with seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're releasing content through Star Wars movie date releases, you're really slow.
This will be our first season in 6 months.
6 months.
Mm-hmm. And
we would have 2 DLC drops from the 2015 Battlefront by now.
Every 3 months in Battlefront 2015, we got a content drop.
I am so disappointed in Battlefront right now.
Well, they had to fix a ton of things before they could actually bring out content. Yes, it is stupid that when it launched, they said, oh, hey, we're going to be bringing more content out, and that's going to be free. We're going to have more seasons, and that's going to be free.
Instead, we're getting less content and more wait time.
Well, we've gotten two new game modes. So we're still on track for the same amount of content. We've had less heroes, though. We've had less heroes, but the same amount of game modes. But those game modes have been limited time.
And I'll be Reddit for this episode, crapping on Battlefront. Yeah, well, it's just...
You're the personification of Reddit?
Yes, I am Reddit as a human right now.
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, just so they lied to us straight on, because I was looking forward to this process that they were doing to where less wait times, but also less content, but more over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was expecting at least something every month. We've gotten...
I mean, even every 2 months
something,
would be better.
Either whether that be an announcement or something else every month. We've gotten, we had new crate maps after crate launched in December. We've gotten Ewok Hunt. We've gotten Jetpack Cargo. We've gotten 2 maps for Jetpack Cargo.
But the game mode that was released for crate is basically just a...
It wasn't necessarily
so
a game
tweaked,
mode. It was
just a tweaked version of Galactic Assault.
Exactly.
So, I mean, we got 2 new heroes and then a new map and not even a new game mode. That's all we got. We also got some ships, but I'm not too interested in that, to be honest.
We still need to do an episode on Starfighter Assault.
I've only played it 3 times.
Played it maybe 20 times. It's not my favorite game mode. I haven't played it enough to actually gauge how it stacks up to the other game modes. It is robust. I believe if it was released as its own game, it would have gotten much more recognition. But my favorite game mode is still Ewok Hunt. But in regards to the solo season, some wonderful gentlemen on Twitter, I say wonderful sarcastically, if you can't tell. You and your team of devs are jokes. XP was the big announcement. LMAO, you're just as bad as Sledgehammer. And Benwalk's my hero. He has done such a good job responding to naysayers and just regular fans on Twitter. Quote, we confirmed yesterday that Season 2 news is coming next week. If we hadn't said that, we'd be seeing, where is the news? May 4th is about in-game events, activities across a number of Star Wars titles. So it's not...
So basically we got an announcement for the announcement.
Yes.
Yes, we got a date for when they're going to release more details.
We got a time frame, and that's better than nothing. It's better to have a time frame of when the announcement's going to happen than just silence until the thing's going to happen.
And honestly, I'm fine with XP as the May the 4th kind of bonus. I mean, it works. I mean, obviously, we're not going to get a crazy drop of content when we just got Ewok Hunt, and we're on the horizon of the new season.
Yeah. And they really said it's a Han Solo season, so that could be a number of things. That could be something just as his character, or something tied into the movies directly.
Most likely will be tied into the new Han Solo movie, but we already have Han and Lando in the game. So they're going to have to do one of the newer characters added to that movie.
Mm-hmm. It would have to be a new character because we already have those 2.
But we do need to see younger Han and Lando skins available.
Exactly, yeah. I'd rather them be a challenge than a purchasable thing.
Yeah, and I want them to start releasing skins available for starfighters as well.
Mm-hmm.
We have skins starting to come out to the game that you can purchase with crystals. Let's start seeing vehicle customization and starfighter customization.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because with the release of Han Solo, the Millennium Falcon is drastically different in its appearance.
Are we going to get another Millennium Falcon ship? Because we've already got Han and Chewie,
Hopefully
and then we've got
just
Rey and Chewie's.
It could be Lando's version.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he has a ship. Does he?
Who?
Lando in the Starfighter Assault.
No.
It could be him piloting the Millennium Falcon, or we could just get an alternative skin.
Can we just talk about how clean Lando kept the Millennium Falcon? Han Solo destroyed that thing. I think Han Solo just went in there after he gambled, like, won it from Lando, and was like, hey, Lando, watch this, and just, like, drove it into a sand dune.
Yeah, because I don't know how old Han Solo is in this movie, but he's not that older in the original trilogy. So he'd have to dirty it in that small time span.
Yeah, maybe we see it dirtied in the movie. But that thing is just destroyed.
And I want to... This isn't concerning Battlefront, but I want to see a cool tie-in at the end of the Solo movie. Like maybe him entering the cantina.
Do you want to see that?
Yeah.
I don't want to see that.
I want to see that. And they are going to do that. I would just like to see him in the cantina being approached by Ben Kenobi.
Would you like to see like a recreation of like a CGI thing, or like have him like grow into Harrison Ford's character, or just like have him walk into the bar and then...
I don't know.
Alden Ehrenreich walks into a bar and then turns into Harrison Ford.
Maybe we don't see his face, but you know, that's the thing with making these earlier movies. You can't get the actors to turn back time. Kind of just have to use your imagination, pretend he's Harrison Ford.
Suspension of disbelief. Again, so next week, be on the lookout for news on Season 2. We'll be covering all of that on the podcast. If you want the news as it drops, you can follow us on Twitter at SWB Podcast. Ben Walk goes on to respond to another one. It was just a talk on his post on the May the 4th Be With You post. They had a discussion on, so next week, Season 2. No, he said it would be an announcement next week and maybe it will follow. He did say early May, that is 1 till 10. So that's just people discussing it. And then he goes in and responds, quote, news will arrive next week. Season 2 itself will follow after it. So we may be seeing it mid-May. I predict that it will be a week before the movie comes out. That's my prediction.
Wasn't that the same with the Last Jedi release?
It came out, the Last Jedi season came out the 11th of December. So,
and then the movie came out the 18th, right?
I think so.
Okay.
So one of our followers, actually, Larry G on Twitter, at CTownFan1981, has reached level 50. And Ben Walk actually went out and responded, nice, we'll have to add more achievements and milestones at this rate. What would you like to see out of like new challenges or milestones?
I want to see exclusive skins at a certain level, as we did in Battlefront 2015.
Yeah, Battlefront 2015.
Like there should be some awesome, because skins are awesome in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think this, even though we're getting customization, it's not as big of a deal as Battlefront 2015 was. They had like so many customizations with face expression, or facial hair and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, there isn't much of you have like officer is just this person in different outfits.
Yeah.
Instead of like, okay, I would like to be a person with a mustache or a different nationality.
But that's what you get when you have predetermined classes.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have as much customization available with that. But still, they are releasing the aliens and all that. But we'll see.
I would like to see the different skins and things like that. And I think the Han Solo season would be a good spot to actually implement those things. And the actual details. So Ben Walk actually has confirmed it will be called the Han Solo season. It's not Solo season. So, like I was saying earlier, it could just be going back into Han Solo's lore and taking characters or maps or locations or something like that, than necessarily bringing it in out of the movies. Obviously, I think the movies are going to be more likely, but since they have titled it the Han Solo season, I think that gives them free reign to do different things.
And maybe down the line we'll even get seasons based around one character like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Obi-Wan season.
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
And it has him and his villain, his biggest rival, as a villain.
I would like to see that. So Obi-Wan and
maybe we'll get Greedo as a villain for Han.
Ooh.
That'd be interesting.
I would like to see that, especially since they've already got the assets made from Battlefront 2015. They would still need to redo his character, like gameplay-wise, to fit the new mechanics.
Yeah.
But visually, they have that framework all set up.
And that's what we're lacking in this Battlefront is like, in Battlefront 2015, we had obscure characters as heroes, like Neon Nub.
Yeah.
Greedo was mildly, not explored very much in the movies. But here we just have like,
we have the main
big name
leads,
brand.
Yeah. We've got Han, Luke, Leia. We've got Lando, who could be arguably a smaller character, but he's got more screen time than Nien did.
Most of those characters.
Or Greedo. The only like obscure character we have is Bosk, but he is more prominent in the animations. So he's not necessarily a off the wall character. But going forward, I would love to see more off the wall characters, more towards the original trilogy than the prequel trilogy. Like, since we have so few prequel trilogy heroes and villains, I would rather them go with the big names like young Obi-Wan, General Grievous, Count Dooku. I'd love to see a Senate skin for Emperor. That's my number one pick for skin, hands down.
I am the Senate.
Yeah, so hopefully the season after this one will be prequel trilogy. If they don't,
if the next season is not prequel trilogy,
or by this rate, the next time we're going to see a new season is going to be the next Star Wars movie. So we're going to have episode 9.
That's coming out next year in December. You're definitely channeling the Reddit threads. Oh, I think that's why this podcast works. You're Reddit and I'm not. I think now that they've got the progression system and they've got most of the things that were big issues fixed, I hope we get a new season every 3 months. I hope. I mean, that's what we were led to expect in Battlefront 2015, and that didn't tout like more frequency in its content like Battlefront 2 did. Battlefront 2, right off the get-go, they said they'd be bringing more content more frequently. That hasn't been the case so far.
Yeah, because after the launch, there was a season the next month.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not seeing that.
Yeah. Obviously, these things take time, especially if they want to do it right. Maybe since they are going for a bigger scope, we'll see it maybe every 2 months or maybe every 3 months, like I was saying, but have like smaller things like limited time game modes or maps or skins launch every month. Like have things that launch every month and then have a big drop of content that adds heroes and villains and adds new permanent game modes or adds new maps and things like that. Have those drop every 3 months or so. Like that, I think that is the dream. I think that's ultimately what they're aiming for, especially since it seems like now that they've got the progression system, they want to bring more substantial content to Battlefront 2.
They got most of the foundation fixed, so they can start doing what they originally told us they were going to do. Exactly.
And again, that progression system was it took so much of their time away from creating other things. Like they had to get this out before anything else.
Yeah, because they had to start basically from scratch over again.
Mm-hmm. They had to rethink the whole progression system.
Yeah, that was the main problem from the get-go. Because in the beta, the progression system seemed to be working.
Mm-hmm. It seemed reasonable.
Yeah.
Obviously, this new progression system is much better.
It is.
But somewhere between beta and release, they switched up the progression system too much.
They made it way too complicated than it needs to be. It just needs to be streamlined. You level up.
You play level
something,
up.
You get something. You get more levels that you can spend on that certain class and upgrade it that way.
In games in general, and I think this is being pushed out more as microtransactions are being put in the news more, as certain countries are actually banning microtransactions in like Overwatch or games like that have these microtransactions as they take it a form of gambling. As those things become more prominent in gaming, I predict that through the backlash, they are going to be pushing those as more of a secondary thing. Like, hey, you can do this for skins, or you can do this as something secondary instead of primary focus of the game.
Which this game seems to be doing somewhat well with that.
Mm-hmm. After the big controversy, they've put microtransactions as a secondary thing instead of the primary focus.
Yeah, because when the game came out, I mean, it wasn't like too focused on the crystals, but it was there.
Yeah, it was noticeable. And that's something that, like, you shouldn't notice these things. Like, I've been playing Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery, and that forces microtransactions out the wazoo. Like, it basically gives you a limit on how many things you can get in terms of energy, and then the more you play, which takes energy, the less that energy goes down, and then eventually you just get to the bottom. They're like, hey, you could either wait 4 minutes for 1 energy, or you could buy like 50 energy right now for $2. And it's not good. It's not good as a consumer. It limits your playability of the game. It's just nasty.
Yeah, because when you spend a set price on a game, it shouldn't be too microtransactional based.
Mm-hmm. You want
now, on a free game, I can understand that.
Yeah. You want players to be focused on the game itself, and if they enjoy the game, say, hey, these guys made a great game. I would like to support them, so I'm going to buy these skins with my own money, instead of, oh crap, I have to buy things for this game to work. Like, it doesn't really work well once you do that. So I think it's interesting to see what the decision that they made for the progression system when they announced it, and how that limited their output of content during that time. And now that that's done, I predict that they will be bringing more content more frequently and have a big drop that is much more robust every so often. That's longer than every month.
We need the more content for the game to work, because right now the core game modes have become so old.
Yeah.
So we just need more diversity. I mean, at the start of the game modes worked really well, but now we've kind of just played the crap out of them.
Exactly.
I mean, the limited time game modes are helping a lot, but we just need a big drop for this game to become
revitalized.
Yeah, revitalized.
I would like to see them just like rotate out of game modes. Like, have maybe when Ewok Hunt comes out, it takes the spot of like Blast. And then when a new game mode comes out, like Blast comes back, and then maybe Galactic Assault goes out and the new game mode takes its spot. Like, I would like to see that rotation.
Just so it doesn't, water down your fan base with games.
Yeah, because the more game modes you have, the more split your community is going to be. So actually having that set amount of game modes, but alternating between maybe, 5 game modes, 6 game modes are in Battlefront 2. And then have one just interchange and take the place of the other. And then once that comes back, it actually refreshes your perspective on the game mode. Like, maybe you played Galactic Assault nonstop for 2 weeks, and then a new game mode takes the place of Galactic Assault, and then you play that game mode. And then when Galactic Assault comes back, you're like, oh, hey, look, I haven't played this in a while. And then you go in there and you enjoy it more.
Yeah, because that was the problem with 2015 Battlefront. We had so many game modes that it was hard to find matches.
I think at launch it was 11, and by the end of the life it was like 15.
Yeah, I mean, that's 15 divided by your fan base, and most of them aren't as popular as other ones.
Exactly, like Hero Hunt it wasn't super popular. A Droid Run was, I think, one of the least popular.
After they nerfed the gain from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do like how they're going with a certain amount of game modes, but they do need to, like you were saying, switch them out would be smart.
Mm-hmm. Just to have that rotation and just refresh everyone's view of the game modes. I'd also like to see limited time game modes for Starfighter Assault. I think that would be cool.
That would be cool. I
would like to see like a Battle Royale Starfighter Assault. Like, we've got Battle Royale clone after Battle Royale clone in these huge map settings. But what if it was like Battle Royale with Starfighters? I'd love to see that.
Yeah. They had like 20 people, and I guess like every man for himself.
Mm-hmm.
Last man surviving wins.
Exactly.
That'd be interesting.
I think that's about it for this episode of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast. I've been your host, Sage Goodwin.
I'm Sam Goodwin.
You can follow us on Twitter at SWB Podcast.
You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/the Star Wars Battlefront podcast.
We have these podcast episodes drop on there as well, so you can check that out. If you are more involved on YouTube, you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Battlefront podcast, or PayPal, paypal.me/tie-dye-sheep, TYEDYESHEEP. We've got a huge new network of that I'm making for video games in general. So Battlefront Podcast will be moving over there. It's going to stay the exact same. But along with that, we're doing podcasts on PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox. So if that's your type of thing, check out ragestart.com. RAGESTART. Our Discord's a pretty cool place to hang out and talk Battlefront. You can contact us through email.
battlefrontpodcast@gmail.com.
And a great way to support us is through leaving a review on iTunes. That's one of the greatest way. We've gotten some really great reviews on there. We really appreciate reading those and your feedback on that. We are close to 60, if not at 60. It always helps us out when we get new reviews because other people can check those out. It lets iTunes know that, hey, people are liking this, so it raises us up in the search. So it's always helpful to see that happening, and it helps us out a lot. So if you don't have the money to spare, you can always support us through that way, and it's super helpful. Or just sharing it with your Battlefront friends. That's super helpful as well. You can listen to the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. As always,
Thanks for listening.
and may the Force be with you.
Perfect, perfect, perfect.